Either we heal now as a team, or we will die as individuals, as football guys. That's all it is. Now, what are you gonna do?
It is Super Bowl season. What better way to celebrate our favorite time of year of our favorite sport than go ahead and combine two of the greatest mediums, football and movies, and dissect Any Given Sunday from 1999. And to properly do this, I had to bring in the Dream Team squad, the Jam Wagon crew, joining us once again, Jason Wei-Tang Malabuyak.
Hey, I had to make the drive out for this. We'll do the shark celebration a couple of times probably. But we made it out. We're
That's
here.
right. And then, of course, with me as always, who has come game day ready, Justin DJ Jag Garcia.
DJ, what's going on, everybody? I came ready.
And you need to check the YouTube feed out to see this. He has come full on, geared up,
I had the
Steelers
solar
helmet
pads
and
in the
all.
car. I didn't want to do all that, but so I should have.
But he brought his helmet.
I got the helmet.
Yeah.
Safety first.
Headphones around it because those are effective at this point.
I think I'm gonna take this off though, because it's a little.
You need to.
I can't hear it.
I don't
It
want
was a
you to
good
keep it on.
initial. It was a good one of those things you
The
do.
joke
Like,
was
this
there.
is gonna be great.
The joke
But
landed.
the joke kind of wears off pretty quickly, especially when it's a podcast that most people are just listening to. So go watch the YouTube.
That's a dark helmet from Spaceballs right there.
Right, exactly.
So let's start here. Is Any Given Sunday the greatest football movie of all time?
I would want to say yeah because of recency bias, and I had a great time watching that 2.5 hour epic. But there's just way too many. I mean, you're talking NFL, or we go college, we go high school.
So, I mean, this isn't an NFL movie per se, but that's also one of the things that's always confused me about it. It's this other league that's undefined. It's not clear what. They mentioned that the Crosstown Dolphins are like doing this and that, which always confused me because it's like, okay, is this a spring league? The early version of like the XFL that was actually like a successful version? Like, what is this league? It's never really explained what the Pantheon Cup is. But I think the reason for it is just because
They didn't want to pay the copyright rights. For
and
the NFL.
I don't think the
Let's be
NFL.
honest.
I don't think the NFL would have signed off on this at all. There's a lot of stuff going on in this movie that I don't think the NFL would have been like, yeah, let's put our name on that. So they had to go with this whole fake league. It had to be the Miami Sharks.
Plus, let's be honest, Dolphins versus Sharks. Like I don't know, man. Sharks has a little more bite to it.
It does,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but a school of porpoises, you never know. Is that the same as a dolphin? I'm not 100% sure.
It
of
gets
my
a little
mammal knowledge.
hairy in trying to figure out which one of those are fish and mammals.
But you might be able to dive this in sooner. I think you nailed it. I think there was some copyright issues. I think because they addressed concussions for a little bit, that the NFL was like,
That was early
nah.
because they were like, "No, we ain't talking about that yet."
NFL was like, shh.
We got 15
Yeah.
years before we need to even bring that
That's
up.
what's crazy is this is in 1990. It's a huge part of this movie, and the NFL doesn't actually even start addressing it as a thing. It's almost like the one that actually blew the cover off it that they were like, okay, we got to start doing something about this. Was that concussion movie with Will Smith? I think maybe it's because at that point social media existed, and now there's like a whole lot more noise, in the inner space about it that they actually have to actually respond to it. But yeah, this movie, it becomes a huge cornerstone of the movie, and we'll get into that. But that's definitely why I think the NFL didn't want anything. And so we're left with the Miami Sharks and, a whole host of other teams.
The Saints.
And their logos.
Saints with their logos were terrible, man. Some of
Okay.
the worst logos in the world. They had the shark, which was, I guess it was cool. It kind of wore on me after I started watching it. But then you got the Saints that have a full on they're with the Three Musketeers.
All right, it was the Knights. All right.
Knights, there you go.
There's a shot where Coach Tony D'Amato is looking at the schedule, and it has the teams in the league listed. So I paused it and I wrote down the teams. So here are the teams in this. They never even said what the league was. Like, I don't even have. They never gave like 3 letters. Like, this is what this is. Like,
true.
Whatever that league is, this is the teams that I saw in it. So we got the Seattle Prospects. I don't really know what to do with that one. Not a big fan of that name. The LA Breakers. Kind of down with that.
That's not terrible.
I like that
I'll
one.
fuck with that one.
I think it could work.
I'll rock a jersey.
Texas Rattlers.
I can see where I
okay.
can see that where they
Okay.
came up with that and what.
Not bad. Kind of feels like a lacrosse team to me for some reason. Like
Okay.
it definitely feels like a junior league of some kind of like a sport that's trying to make it work. We got the Minnesota Americans.
That's the worst one. That has to be the fucking.
I don't know what that
is. That
one's
because
doing.
of the Mall of America is in Minnesota?
Yeah, that's probably where they got that from.
Imagine being named after a mall.
After a country.
Yeah.
You know what? This is actually before the Houston Texans were a thing, which I still stand by was a stupid name. But Americans is actually somehow worse. So like, you know what? We just represent our whole country. We're everybody's team.
This includes South America, Central
Yeah,
America.
you guys come on in, join the party.
Guatemala, what's up?
Canada. You can
Part of
support
it too. Get out here.
Houston Cattlemen. Yeah,
It's better than Texans.
Fucking
I
cattlemen.
guess so. Yeah. I don't know.
At least we know what they're doing.
The Washington Lumbermen.
That's a stretch.
Yeah, I understand where they landed on that name.
These names aren't.
A lot of men.
They made sure
Well,
none of these names have any like connection to any team that's ever been created.
Yeah.
'Cause none of these have any. I've never heard of any of these teams, so they did that on purpose. I'm
Well,
sure.
yeah, that's
No one's
that's
ever
really
going to
cool.
use this name.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We're good.
We had the Oregon Pioneers.
Okay, Oregon
A
Trail.
lot of
Okay.
Pacific Northwest representation in this league. The New York Emperors. I kind of like that one. I like it's a little bit of a nod to the Empire State Building, the Empire State Building. So,
Okay.
Chicago Rhinos.
No.
I feel that one.
No.
I feel like if you got a city like Chicago, there's a lot to work with, and the Rhinos now, in hindsight, just makes me think that of Key and Peele, because every time, like the sketch with like the three pumps, their jersey said the Rhinos, like that was always the team they used anytime.
England or Kingleberry?
Yes, exactly. Colorado Blizzard. I like that one. I think it would have sounded cooler if it was the Denver Blizzard, though. I don't know. It just rolls a little bit easier for me. The Dallas Knights. So this is actually a little confusing because on the schedule it says San Francisco Knights, but then at the end of the movie in the big game they play the Dallas Knights. So I don't know if it was just like they forgot what they put on the schedule or what. Point is, there's some Knights in the team, and they have the ugliest uniforms I've
Those
ever
are
seen.
atrocious.
Three
dude.
Musketeer uniforms. They basically,
So bad.
They basically could have went to medieval times and did a show prior to that, and then jumped on a football field and then from their uniforms.
The Golden Knight wins.
They're.
Don't touchdown! Like, no, that shit. Yeah.
I just feel like they're trying way too much with that. They have like the weird thing in the middle that's like a night cross. They literally like just looked at medieval times and they're like, let's turn it into a football uniform. And then on top of that, instead of having side to side helmet logos, they have front to back. Don't try to reinvent the wheel on the football uniform, guys.
Is that what they
Just
did? That's so
yeah,
funny.
they have like the eyeball that represents like the Illuminati. You know,
Illuminati.
something like that. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what that has to do with knights at all, but yeah, I hated those uniforms. Okay, and then we had the Orlando Crushers. I like that one. Wisconsin Icemen, pretty good. Kansas Twisters, not bad. I don't know why Kansas has a
Hey,
Vegas
you had
stadium.
the whole roster on there, huh?
Tornado Alley. Okay.
And the Maine Androids.
Main androids.
Fuck did Maine get a team? First team they've ever had in anything.
That's true.
The worst uniforms are definitely the Knights, but then also that Crusaders team they play in the middle, blue and green, and they got, I don't know. That one was also
pretty
hideous.
bad.
So anyways, this movie famously directed by Oliver Stone, and immediately we just get hit with all the Oliver Stone-ness right away. The movie starts with a Vince Lombardi quote, okay? And then there's a lightning strike, followed by a close-up of like a man grabbing a football and then an eyeball. And then we're just off and running. We go right to the first play when Cap Rooney, played by
Dennis Quaid.
The Quaid.
Not to be confused with his brother Randy Quaid
No.
of Independence Day fame and Cousin Eddie.
Important distinction there.
he looks like an NFL quarterback. Now-
Really? You thought that?
yeah, he
I thought
totally.
it was a bad. I didn't know. Maybe it's because I've seen Dennis Quaid in so many movies that it's like he's not.
I
doing
remember
that.
back at the time when I first saw this, I was like getting Brett Favre vibes from him. Like he kind of has
that's
a
a good
Brett
call.
Favre look to him, but he seems like he looks the part. He looks like a quarterback who's kind of like on his like last couple years and he's trying to hold it together, but he's been successful. I think he totally nailed it. And he does a great job sort of selling the concussion thing when he's kind of like seeing. And one of that, again, credit to Oliver Stone. He does a really good job of sort of getting you in the field of vision of what it would be like if you're one of those players dealing with the pressure of like all the intensity of the game. There's all these like crazy shaky zooms of like the crowd all of a sudden and closest of him grabbing the dirt.
Definitely starts off high energy out there.
High energy.
Yeah,
it lets you know exactly what this is like right away. Like
Hits you in
this
the face.
is gonna be a crazy football movie. We're
Fucking-
gonna get real as shit.
Fucking Cap Rooney.
Cap Rooney.
Yep.
Cap Rooney's the cap. But I'm gonna say right off the top, excellent casting in this movie. Like just on and on all throughout the roster. Everybody, like, there's so many good stars that they caught at like a great time in their career. From the fact that Al Pacino is their head coach, who's just a legendary actor, and it just will not fail that role. Like, I don't know if this guy knows anything about football, but I want to listen to him. I'm going to follow him to the battle.
I almost completely believe that he doesn't. Like,
I do love at the very end, so at the end of the half, right after Cap gets hurt, and he's doing his locker room speech, he gets on and he's like, "We just lost 2 quarterbacks." And he like yells at the offensive line, and then he's like, "All right, the defense. I don't know. We got to do something. we gotta make a tackle." It's like you're not the defensive guy, huh? Like, that's not your specialty. I gather that right away.
Okay, defense. This is what we got to do here. I don't know. You got to do something. You got to do something out there. You got to make it happen. I don't know what you're doing. You got to stop flying around the fucking ball. Do something. Tackle somebody. Don't let these guys chew up the goddamn clock on us. You got to jam those receivers. I don't care. You can make mistakes. Make them big. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to eat your lunch for that.
A lot of watching Oliver Stone style, it hits all the points. It's got amazing visuals where you're like right inside the action. It's basically like, I heard that he wanted to kind of make like Saving Private Ryan but football, and you could see that when you're like kind of like in the field of battle and everything looks like crazy. Transitions and edits and like other like visuals coming in, which could be a little bit much at times, but in some of the football games, like, I think it kind of works. Also, like, amazing dialogue scenes. Like, we get all of that. We get the whole gambit of the Oliver Stone experience, like right off the bat.
I would say, just my personal opinion about the movie, is that fact that it has so much action, like boom, 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 and then the times it does have dialogue, sometimes it just goes for so long with the dialogue. I'm so used to the action in the movie. I'm like, no, you need to get back to my brain's in action mode. It doesn't want to go in these long 5-minute conversations between him and Cameron Diaz. But that's just my own personal, like, you know what I mean? That was the one thing about this movie that was like, so much action, so much. Now slow it down for the next 6 minutes, and they're gonna talk.
I think you need that though. I think there needs to be a balance. Like, you can't just have like
3 minutes.
I think that it's cool that they give you a little bit peek behind the curtain of what it's like to run a team, the kind of stuff that owners and GMs talk about behind like making decisions for football and stuff like that.
I didn't like it.
One thing I do hate that they do is the shots to the owner's box. I just hate the way there's just all these like random people in there. I know what they're going for, but like it just takes away from the action for me. There's like always this classical music playing, and they're just like all these like stuffy people. Could not be many more opposite from like all the people on the other side of the glass. They really overdo it by the end of the movie. The dead owner's wife is just there, and she's like just getting loaded.
Blasted.
Care about.
She's blasted, dude.
Throughout the entire movie.
She's like in outer space the whole movie. She doesn't know where she's at. She
Classic
she has dogs.
Dead owner's wife, where she's just like living on a fortune now, and like she doesn't need to worry about it. She just live.
You worry too much, honey. Have
a
drink.
It's just a game, and also the cause, reason, and future of her fortune. But just
no
relax. Yeah, there's so many amazing casting choices. Al Pacino at the tail end, he's obviously a legend. Jamie Foxx at this point was just really kind of getting started. I think this is the first movie I remember him being kind of like unimportantly. I think before this it was Booty Call.
Booty Call was great.
And that was it.
I love Booty Call.
Well,
But that's a movie.
He played Buns.
Is that really his name?
I just want to throw out his name because the name of that movie was Buns.
It needed to be thrown out.
Had that ass bouncing like a lowrider in a Dr. Dre video.
But that's the kind of movie you would have expected him to be in at that point. This is the first time I think he was in like a role with sort of like letting him like stretch out a little bit, show a little bit of what he can do. And then you got Cameron Diaz, who's coming off like, I think the hottest point of her career. This is right after Something About Mary, when then suddenly everybody knew about Cameron Diaz. She was just like the hottest actress in Hollywood. So for her to like be this kind of conniving, maybe business savvy owner that like took over for her dad, I would say if we had somebody like that in life, like she would be a very notable personality, not just sports media, but media in general.
Isn't that Jeannie Buss?
That's Jeannie Buss, yeah.
She's way hotter than Jeannie Buss, though. You look like Cameron Diaz.
Saw Jeannie Buss in person. And,
Oh, no. Look, don't take it as slander, Jeannie. I'm just saying you're dealing with peak Cameron Diaz coming right off of Something About Mary.
I'm not trying to battle that, but don't hate on Jeannie.
You can't. I'm not. I'm saying nobody can battle peak Cameron. Man, causing fights for no reason right at the top.
Yes, that's what I do. But yes, who else did they have? Bill Bellamy and LL Cool J. I think you called them out earlier. Who had a fantastic scene about 10 minutes in that you had no idea or reason why. It just showed, hey, these two party.
Bill Bellamy at this point, I remember he was a big thing in the 90s. Remember? Like MTV back in the day. He was like...
So was this the end of his career,
He was a
basically?
VJ.
Yeah, so he had only been like a VJ, but he was like the guy on MTV back when MTV was like cool in like the early mid 90s and it was like cutting edge. He made
How to be a player.
How to be a player.
Yeah, I was gonna say How to Be a Player. We can check on that, but he was great in that too. Actually.
Yeah. But that was like another one where it's like that's what you would expect him to make. And so him kind of coming in suddenly being the wide receiver, games himself up before the game, being like, I'm the greatest receiver of all time. I can catch anything.
The best wide receiver that's ever lived. I can catch anything. I'm the best receiver that's ever lived. That's right.
You know who needs to do that now?
Who's that?
Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews. We're coming off watching
Come on,
Mark Andrews drop an entire football game.
Come on, Mark.
Got a team in the championship game. So that's the time of recording at this moment. But anyways, I also noted that the product placement is incredible right off the bat. We get literally just a close-up of a metrics pack being opened. Like right after Cap goes down, we cut right to a close-up of metrics, which took me back. I haven't seen metrics in years.
What
but
is
I remember,
metrics? I don't even know.
I don't know. It was like some nutrition stuff.
Protein.
Yeah.
Oh, really? It was like blasted? Like they were purposely like paid for that spot on it?
Oh, for sure.
They're
Really?
all
Yeah, I missed
over
that.
this
I missed
movie.
that.
It
That's
also shows up in like Willie Beeman's whole music video. And he's like, he has like the strawberry shake, and he's like, "Tastes good," or something like that. And then they cut out from the commercial and show it's on the big screen, where the scoreboard has advertisement for Pepsi, Budweiser, Qualcomm, and IBM. Which,
this movie got paid. Huh?
Yeah.
and it just continues
They
all
got
throughout.
sponsorships.
That's football, baby. That's all it is.
One more to note too. You catch this Under Armour.
Oh yeah, Under Armour's all
That's
over it.
I think where they launched after this movie.
Oh, shit.
That's
Yeah,
a good
Under
point.
Armour.
They weren't
Yeah.
really a thing at that point, and they're still going strong.
And everyone was
to
like,
this
"What's
day,
this
so.
Under Armour all about?"
What's this like jock strap that
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx is wearing that they zoom in and they got a fucking logo on it? So that's it. What's that logo say?
Just so you know,
Get some of that.
Under Armour.
It did make it popular. That was an early 2000s
That's the early
thing.
yeah.
This was the jump off point. Yeah.
For sure. That's crazy that this movie was it, though.
So is it the greatest football movie of all time? I don't know.
Well, me, I have The Waterboy as my top. Really, anything Adam Sandler. What was the other football movie that he... The Replacements? No, that was
The
Longest Yard.
Longest Yard. Again, a better movie, in my opinion.
And this one? Hell no. I would put Longest Yard above Waterboy, but I'm not putting either of them above this one.
I'm putting anything Adam Sandler.
Okay.
But like, remember the Titans up there?
Was
Rudy.
Adam
Sorry,
Sandler
I do
in
love
any of this?
Rudy.
Varsity
dude.
Blues.
Varsity.
I'll say
Blues.
this. I presented 3 different options as an idea for I wanted to do a football movie for Super Bowl week. I threw it over to the gang over here and I was like, what do you guys think? Jason's response was basically like, oh, option A, a lot of people love that. Option B is an awesome movie. Option C is pretty good too. So it was like, so one vote for everything. Okay.
Nice.
And I said, you know what? I guess I didn't help much.
Yeah.
But positivity going into the new year is all we need.
I landed on this because of the movies. This one felt the most like NFL adjacent. So I felt like as a, run up to the Super Bowl, this was the call. So
Plus, one of them was Little Giants, and that doesn't really connect with NFL too much.
So I'm talking
Although a classic.
But we'll
football
go.
movie.
We could say that one because we've been talking about how we want to do Little Giants at some point, and maybe early next season. That's when we'll get into that one.
But the NFL Giants and Little Giants, very similar early in the season for the Little Giants to the pros.
How so?
Little Giants are very much like the NFL Giants. In the
Oh,
fact
yeah,
that
yeah.
In the
Absolutely.
beginning, they're absolutely terrible.
Yeah, they might have a
Maybe
better,
the Giants can turn it around.
Maybe they should throw Rick Moranis out there and see what happens.
Annexation of Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
Little
just-
Giants coming 2025 later this year.
So they cart Cap off, right? Then in comes backup Tyler Cherubini, who I put down. Did Tyler Cherubini have the worst game of football on record in football history? Because Cherubini comes in, he gets one play, the rush gets to him in about a second and a half. And takes him out. The cart with Cap on it has not even got to the locker room yet. And they're like, Cherubini's down. You got to roll it back out. And he's like, what the fuck?
Dr.
All right.
Harvey.
He's like, Dr. Harvey Mandrake.
His backup quarterback, Tyler Cherubini, has not seen a lot of action recently.
It's worse than that, Kev. Tyler Cherubini has not thrown for a first down all season.
Fumble! Oh my gosh, touchdown! And the American Giants go up 23-21. Man, oh man, did they nail him. And it doesn't look like Cherubini's getting up.
Fuck! Any given Sunday, Kev, anything can happen.
They need you back. Cherubini's down. Cherubini, what, he fell off the bench?
He's like, Cap, can you walk the rest of the way to the locker room? I got to turn this thing back around because... And that's how we end up with Willie Beamen, who was sitting on the bench reading a fucking newspaper, eating seeds, like not even paying attention. The fact that he had a newspaper open.
Dude, hat's crooked, offering his teammates like some sunflower seeds. You guys want some? You guys want some?
All of a sudden, he's in the game. And I do feel like, as I mentioned earlier, with that stone direction, they do a really good job showing like what kind of chaotic energy it would be like to suddenly be in an NFL game or like a professional game where he's looking around and all these like linebackers are like coming on the line and looking at you and you're looking at the crowd and everything's just, they're like just yelling plays in your ear. You know, if you're not ready for that, it would be like,
it'd be tense.
It would be insane.
With that said, there's one part that hits me early in the movie where Willie Beamen comes in. He just said he had the sunflower seeds and he was not paying attention whatsoever. So he clearly wasn't involved in that game or any previous games to that. So when they lose the game at the end of this first game, and the first thing he tells his coach is, "I'm just tired of losing, coach." Motherfucker, you haven't been in the game or paying attention whatsoever. Like, what are you talking about? You're tired of losing. You barely got in, and you were what?
Tony, they subtly dropped it that he's a 4-year veteran.
They said that when he first comes in. Yeah, he's like he's kind of been like a journeyman quarterback. Bounce around out of Dallas.
All right, well, that's
like a Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, coach should have almost just been like, "It's all right. You've had nothing to do with any of that, guy. You're good." This movie wastes no time showing you the intensity of football, for better or for worse. Obviously, the intensity of the stuff on the field. Then they go to the locker room, and dude's like, "Get me out of this! I gotta go!" And
Huge dump, and they're holding the IVs for him.
They're on the field. Jamie Foxx is throwing up. Anything dealing with the locker room, the whole movie is just like in your face intensity, and they're like, "This is the way it is." I'm actually curious to know, like, the people that actually made this movie, like how much research or if it was a lot of guessing. A lot of this movie feels like it's very on point and smart. But then there's also like a point when Cameron Diaz, a.k.a. Christina Pagniacci, she's
fantastic name.
Yeah, great name. And she's like, at this point, we could get a second and a third round draft choice for Cap. And I'm like, who? I've never heard it referred to as a draft choice before.
What do they usually refer to as?
Draft pick.
What was her name again? Pachowski?
Christina Pagniacci.
Pagniacci. Throughout the movie, they have her acting like she's the villain. Was she really, like, throughout the movie a villain? Like, I feel like she was just looking out for her team. She was trying to get some more money, move them to a better place. Their stadium sucked, and she wanted to win games. And she was like, he's not the best option. He's the best. I feel like she was just a good owner trying to being a little more involved than she should be. But other than that, was just looking at, like, she wanted the best thing for the team. Let's get some results. Am I wrong on that? Like, as I was listening, they portray her as an asshole, but she really just looking out for the team.
I don't think this movie really tries, and it's an interesting thing they do. I don't think they try to portray people as like heroes or villains. Like, this is supposed to be who you like, this is who you don't like. It's more just kind of like, this is how it is. And they're showing you kind of like the ruthlessness of being an NFL owner. I'm just going to refer to it as NFL from now on, just so I don't have to keep making this clear. This is supposed to be the NFL, even though we got the Miami Sharks on the fucking...
And the Pantheon Cup.
And the Pantheon Cup. We were talking about Super Bowls.
All right, that makes more sense.
That's being an NFL owner. I
can see that too, because
these are the kind of tough decisions they got to make. She's like, I know everybody loves Cap. I'm looking at this third stringer that's like making some waves. I think we could build a future off of him, and we still have enough value with Cap that we could get a second and third round draft choice for him. So, and she says some more cold-blooded shit when she's talking about Sharks. He's like, honestly, we'll cut him in the offseason. Nobody's going to want to sign a concussion case. He'll come back for 30% of what he was making before. Like,
damn.
Some ruthless shit they're talking about.
That shit for sure happens
but
in the
that's,
NFL. Dude.
I guarantee
Absolutely.
you, these are the kind of conversations that happen in meetings for sure. I think there's a lot of things that this movie does that I definitely don't think was touched on before. Up until this point, I think a lot of football movies had been either like very high school based or kind of with like a little hint of cheese, a little hokiness, a little comedy with it. I definitely don't think, especially with the visuals of the plays and everything, that anything had been this raw and real before. I remember when it came out, I still remember seeing previews of it, like, oh, this movie's going for it. Like, they're trying to be in your face about it. I think, and it still holds up. A lot of the stuff I just think still holds up, you know? Like players dealing with injuries, you know, the reality of like trying to fight for your next contract.
And Oliver Stone just trying to ruffle some feathers.
Players getting pissed off and throwing alligators at their teammates, which, by the way, I don't know if that scene came out of nowhere, and he literally grabbed an alligator within a minute because according to the way the scene went, where was that alligator?
Where
man?
did he get an alligator from?
He
had it ready.
Stored. No way it was in his car, and if it was,
No, he was just like, it's a good thing I brought my alligator today.
just a
It's in my
massive-
locker. I knew these guys were going to talk shit on my dancing in the shower.
Yep.
Hang on, I got something for you. Watch this.
And you know what?
I call him Alan.
And I wasn't gonna
Get
bring
him,
him.
Alan.
And I wasn't gonna bring him, but I had a hunch.
I had a hunch. It was
I was
time.
leaving the house.
Today
I grabbed
was
my
the day.
keys, and I was like, you know what? You're coming with me.
That guy's house was also chaos too. Later when they show, I didn't even get his name. I just was writing him down as face paint guy. But there's a point later in the movie where they like show his house and he's got like kids. He's got like 9 kids running around. There's like Rottweilers in cages inside, just like barking incessantly. There's like music blasting. I'm like, who the fuck?
You're gonna
is
love
this
this, but his
psycho,
name
dude?
was Patrick Madman Kelly.
That was his name?
Of course it was. I had zero doubt his nickname was Madman.
I saw in the
Alligators.
tattooed his eyes.
Alligator Man.
Those are tattooed. That wasn't just like black thing that you put
It
on your
wasn't?
head. It was tattooed. He had tattoos. That's why he always had it.
Really? I didn't even catch that. I didn't catch his name, but I was noticing in the credits it had one of the players' name was Beastman. I just assumed they were referring to him because he seems like a guy whose name would be Beastman, you know? Chad Beastman.
He has a great football movie resume, by the way. If you didn't
That guy?
notice, that same guy was Latimer in the program. Great movie.
Okay.
And he also played a psycho, roided out. He's very typecasted.
It's kind of his thing.
And then he was in another unknown college football movie called Necessary Roughness.
Oh, I love Necessary
It's
Roughness.
a great movie, and he's
Sinbad?
more centered in that one, a little more calm.
It was early in his career still.
But his agent was like, "We're onto something here,"
Yeah.
and I know exactly
Maybe-
what to cast you in.
Maybe lean a little bit more into the roided out psychopath
Yeah.
with the
Hey,
face tattoos.
You still got those roids? Okay,
You got
Pop
an
'em.
alligator in the
Get
back
him
of
going,
your
get him
truck?
going.
Pop him.
You should have one of those.
So shout out to him, and his name, by the way, was Andrew Briniarski. If you're listening, and I know you are,
Give us a shout out.
give us a shout.
Tip of the cap to you, sir.
Yeah.
You're
You
a
psycho
wild man.
motherfucker, you.
And your house looks insane. I wonder how realistic it is that that's a situation. Because I bet you there is a lot of NFL players that have like
Absolute
9
chaos.
kids running around their house, but they're not even around. They like kind of like have like a maid kind of like trying to like figure stuff out. So when they go back, it's just kind of chaos at all times. I don't know about the Rottweilers in like a cage. Like
Yeah.
it looked like a kennel in his house. Like it was
Doesn't he say something like, "Well, you shouldn't have gotten married" or something? It's like,
yeah.
Honey, did you feed the dog yet? Honey, did you put the kids to bed?
Why can't we afford a maid?
Why the hell did I get married?
Did the football teams back then just have like a priest on retainer? Like
I believe so.
on staff as like part of the team, just ready to like
Yeah.
call in a prayer.
Yes, they do have that one.
Man,
Yes.
I gotta say, man, Christ was having a great run in the '90s, dude. Like everybody was so in. You could just have like a priest, like as part of the team, just be like, "Welcome to." He's like he's the one that gives the end game pep talk speech. He doesn't even like just give a prayer. He's just like, "Gentlemen, we've been here before."
You and I have been in some tough places together, haven't we? I went to my playbook. And the book says, the rain falls on the just and the unjust alike. Now, we just lost 4 in a row.
He gives a better speech than Tony does at halftime when he's telling the defense, I don't know, we got to do something.
We got to something.
Make a tackle. And then meanwhile, we have defensive coordinator Jim Brown. Who's like
That
in
is who
practice.
that was, right? I was like,
Yeah.
that's Jim Brown, isn't it?
But his attempt is just being like, you guys are fucking stupid. I'll make the plays for y'all to learn them. And then you don't execute. Like he's literally just like pointing at the
Let's
board.
give Jim Brown
His
some
whole
credit
thing-
in his like acting on this one. He really did kill it on the.
I think the fact that they have Jim Brown and Lawrence Taylor in this movie, like 2 of the greatest like football, but it could be argued that they're both the greatest at their position in the NFL.
And when I'm talking about defense, goddammit, you're dumb enough. We made it simple enough. We made this shit real fucking simple.
What I always love from a good sports movie of casting is like, I want to see some star power. They got that. I want to see some sort of up and coming roles, which was like what Jamie Foxx was, like give somebody a shot that, you know, we haven't really seen him play this. They got that. And I like seeing a little crossover from other entertainment values. Bring in some real football players. Bring in some music artists. We got LL Cool J playing the hot-headed running back, Julian Washington, J-Man.
I agree with
A good eclectic crew is what I like on a football team. I thought that Adam Sandler one kind of nailed that pretty good too. Longest Yard. I like the casting they did in this one.
Yeah,
this one
star
is
power.
This one hits, I think, the dramatics of it better. So
Can we give credit to the Willie Beamen and his fantastic song? Like, as a kid, I used to be like, he's bragging. You don't want to get, because I don't know, my dad had this thing on me where it's like, you don't want to brag. You don't want to be a hot dog. You got to be, and I was like, okay. And then I got to hate on everybody. But now that I'm an adult, I'm like, motherfucker's killing it for 2 songs. They put him on blast now. He's making, I'm Willie Beamen. And then it's just a good beat to it. It's just smooth. I keep him screaming. I don't know, man. I listened to it and I was like, this is a good song. I might put this on my Spotify playlist.
Get it on there. I guarantee there's full track of it. Jamie was already into making music at this point, so I'm sure he actually turned that into a full track.
Come on. You know my name. Come on. My name is Willie. I keep the ladies screaming, and all my fans got them screaming. You can defeat me. You're dreaming.
I actually had that in the category, which we can go ahead and do now. I'm going to just bop in with some categories real quick if you guys want to like jump in with any ideas.
Rapid fire. Let's get it.
What is the most 1999 thing about this movie? This is a category a bit from the Rewatchables, my favorite podcast. Shout out to Bill Simmons. Football player making a rap video mid-season, like once he started to catch fire. I feel like that was something that happened a lot in the 90s. I especially think of like Deion Sanders. In like Deion Sanders' heydays, I definitely felt like that was the kind of thing he would do. I've seen some Deion Sanders videos and it's very similar to what you were seeing in that Willie Beamen one.
Yeah, they had like the crazy Gumby gold and the sunglasses.
Yeah,
dude.
he's just wearing a suit, but like the bright colored suit, but no shirt underneath. Yeah, the Deion look.
Most 99 thing for me that I noticed was the lack of any phones, right? Because this is pre-phones, pre-cells and everything. So everybody's at that party where he breaks the car in half and shit like that. Nobody's on their phones. And it's just something I realize a lot now because I pay attention to it for some reason. It's awkward. I'm like, everybody's on their phone. So whenever they're not, I'm like, nobody's on their phone.
And complete lack of social media presence.
0. So everybody was able to, that's why parties went a little harder.
Living in the moment.
A lot of this movie, like I said earlier, holds up if they did this now. I think a lot of it would be the same. But there would be much more a social media presence in the movie. That would be a big part of it. Julian, LL Cool J would be about his TikTok and his Instagram.
Yeah.
He's all worried about getting his stats. He'd be like talking about like, I got to give my followers like a shout out post game. He would like have his phone up, you know.
They would have Cameron Diaz talking to the coach via text. And they would like, bloop, 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 like
there'd be some text conversations happening. Yeah. Okay, so that's a good call.
I don't know, man. I took that completely wrong. The most 90s thing about it was
what'd you say?
I was thinking the most 90s thing about this movie was Elizabeth Berkley, aka Jesse Spano, getting naked again.
Jesse Spano
getting naked again,
coming off the bench.
That's like twice in like 4 years.
Jesse Spano coming off the bench as your neighborhood hooker. Just
talk about being typecasted like the madman.
I know. And a lot of people always talked about how Elizabeth Berkley like took a chance by like being in Showgirls, and they were
very
like,
risque.
It didn't really work. But yeah, then she shows up in this one. And this one, she's not so much like a stripper. She's just sort of like the friendly call girl trying to get like close to Coach D'Amato and everything. Yeah, bold choice by her. But you know what? I keep wanting to call her Jesse Spano.
Jesse Spano. That's why I was like, the most 90s thing is Jesse Spano getting naked again.
In this movie.
Twice in 4 years. So she was a trailblazer for Sydney Sweeney. Let's just put it out there.
There you go. Here's my call for most 1990 thing about it. Trick Daddy CDs.
Yeah.
Coach D's all trying to get close to Jamie.
What are you listening to?
Willie, he's like, what do you listen to? And he's like the cool young guy. He's like, Trick Daddy. Got his shades on and shit. He's like, oh, yeah, I got some of that there. I know.
No, but he had his headphones like
and he's like, I'll make you a mixtape. Yeah.
Sunglasses
and he's
on.
like, oh, yeah, I'll make you a tape. And he's like, no, it's CDs, man. We listen to CDs now. Like, it's only this cool.
What you listening to? Rap. Anyone I know?
Trick Daddy?
Yeah.
You know it?
Sure. You ever listen to jazz? You know, Coltrane, Monk, Miles Davis, Billie Holiday.
I don't get into the old stuff much.
Well, maybe I'll put together a tape for you. My favorites.
CDs. CDs.
Ah, yeah. Well, forget about that.
I think that's going to be the winner for me. Also, then on a more serious note, the team doctor not wanting to test for concussions. Kind of a 1999 aspect of this movie, I think. Willie Beeman's yellow shirt when he goes to have dinner with Coach D'Amato.
That was a rash guard.
Yeah, it was like made by body armor. It could not have been any tighter. As bright yellow as the man in the yellow hat.
And it was tucked in.
Yes. Felt like a very specific time frame in like 1999 when like that might have been
Could
a
be
thing.
worn, yeah.
Yeah. Also, Willie getting busted for taking a $300 suit to go to somebody's wedding, being the reason that everybody looked at him as like a troublemaker and broke the rules, you know, as like some booster helping him out. Like the rules used to be like so where we've gotten today, where like you got some guys in college with NIL making more money than the guy, like some of the lower end paid guys in the NFL. I definitely feel like we're inching closer to like us like tipping it too far the other way, where now they're gonna have to like bring it down, bring a hammer on that. But yeah, how many times did we see who was that player on Ohio State who got busted for getting like tattoos for free and like he got like suspended for that? And it's like, I don't know. That's kind of up to the tattoo artist's choice if he wants to like hook you up with tattoos. I don't know. The rules used to be so insane. So the fact that kind of set a spiral for his whole career, like going down, I thought was very interesting and very 99. And then finally, Tony. This list got darker as we went through it. But then when he's talking to Cap Rooney later, and he's like asking him if he's okay, and he's like, I don't know. It's my body. It's feeling. He's like, you'll be all right. You just need the needle. Classic 1999 conversation right there.
Doc got it wrong about your back? I don't know, Tony. It hurts a whole lot more than I thought. I think I pushed it too hard. We all play hurt, Cap. You know, you just need the needle. Yeah, I'm sure that's it.
Okay, so just to get back to where we were in the movie. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Jack Rose, who had it first. Jack Rose, played by John C. McGinley, is that his name?
Oh,
Dr.
Yeah.
Cox from Scrubs.
The journalist.
Yeah, great casting. He says right when he first gets in, he's like, he's the future of the team. Willie Beamen hasn't even done shit yet. He was at the front of it. Jack Rose had it first.
Really?
It's like a broken play. Damn it.
Do we know any of these plays?
Give him a chance, all right? The guy knows the basic package, but he's only taken a few snaps. It's the future of the team.
And then I wrote this about Jack Rose. Jack Rose walked so Skip Bayless could run. I do feel like he's somewhat invented the hot take business. Now, we had Jim Rome out there, so he was kind of doing that. Maybe this was a little bit of a Jim Rome ripoff. But in 1999, most of like sports on TV was like Sports Center highlights. There was very little like talking head hot take game. I don't think until like PTAI started a few years later. And I remember when that show started, it was kind of like a new thing. Throughout this entire movie, Jack Rose just keeps popping up on the TV, shitting on Tony, shitting on the Sharks, shitting on the way the organizations run. And about as cool as Skip Bayless was when he's like talking to Willie and he's like, give me some skin. Give me some dap, bro. Yeah.
He's like, nah,
I'm cool in the love,
cool
bro.
in the love.
Your smack is so fresh. I mean, it's so on time and truthful. Give me a pound, dog. Come on, share the love.
I'll pass on the love, dog.
I feel like somewhere Skip Bayless was watching that, just taking notes. Like,
Skipping his fucking shoes always give me.
That's how you do it. All right.
Jordans. He's like, see, I'm cool. Get out of here, dude.
With his big ass chains and shit. Speaking of Christina Pagniacci earlier, do you think that the whole owners like kind of trying to be underhanded and move the team to LA thing is a slight pull out of the playbook from Major League with the owner? The owner's wife.
Which, by the way, that was not the owner's wife, the mom
in the movie.
Yeah.
What?
The
one that was
Major League's the
owner, the blonde lady.
That was his wife, the showgirl.
Yeah, that was the drunk in this movie.
No way.
Am I tripping on that? Isn't that the same people?
No, they're not.
Her name is Anne Margaret.
Sure.
I know
Not
that.
the same.
I doubt
They're
it.
very. Yeah, I see where you're going for.
They're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
That's her a couple years later.
Absolutely. They're
10
very
years later?
a lot of similarities, but no,
No?
different.
All right, well, that would have been a cool connection
Yeah,
to
that would-
make right there. On the fly.
Again, just people
Rachel
getting typecasted.
Phelps, Margaret Whitten.
I thought I found something there.
Christina Pagniacci is a notch above Rachel Phelps, in my opinion, because she still has the team's interest. She wants the team to win. She just wants it to be like maybe located and where it's going to make her more money.
Both are very okay going into the locker rooms, though.
Oh, very
Like,
much,
they're
yeah.
Both that's part of their goal is the. Which, by the way, in this movie, a lot of male ass all over the place.
A lot of unnecessary male ass, man.
All the whole team, before they play a flag football game, decides to moon the ladies before they say hike. And it's like, what is going on? Why is there so much?
Yeah, like that's like a false start, right? Like that's you can't pull that play off after that.
Can't pull that.
That's cheating.
That's a definite before social media time period. Like if you saw, imagine like there was a clip of like the entire Miami Dolphins like just mooning,
showing their ass before they. Yeah.
You could get away with it in '99. A little different now.
And then Oliver Stone is like, you know what? I didn't like that take. Let's take another take on that.
They did multiple takes. I promise you.
They're like, we did this 4 times already.
But then there's also just like needless gratuitous nudity. At one point, when they're just kind of doing like a montage of like stuff through the season, they just have a shot of 4 guys like taking a piss at the urinal. They all have the Sharks towels, and then suddenly they all just are like standing there naked for no reason.
Naked. Yeah.
What? Did they all like choreograph? Like, all right, we're gonna lose the towels in 3, 2, 1. Oh my God, we're doing it, guys. We're doing it.
They're like, what's the snap count? And then they all took their towels off.
Snap.
Now, the level of random ass in this movie
and then, of course,
a little excessive.
The alligator in the shower scene.
Yeah.
Christina coming in the locker room, and they just randomly just have it's just a massive dong just standing.
Some guy just chilling.
Casually standing there. No hurry to go anywhere. He's just like, I think he's that way. That way, coach.
Yeah, he's right over there. To all his friends, all the girls, like, hey, I was in this movie. You guys should check it out.
I don't want to put any kind of Google search to try to figure out who that guy was, but I do wonder if that was the peak of his career right here. Like, and also,
probably, I can almost guarantee
what the casting call was to find who that guy was. I didn't even. If that guy was in another part of the movie, I didn't notice. So then we get to a point finally when Willie starts turning it on, right? Finding his invisible juice, which, by the way, was my fantasy team name this year. You guys are in my league. Willie Beamen, Invisible Juice.
And when you're out there, is the raw fear in the belly? Is the raw terror?
Terror. No, I don't feel none of that. It's like they ain't even gonna touch me. They're not gonna feel me. They're not even gonna smell me. I don't care if it's the T-Rex or the Terminator out there chasing me. I got this invisible juice, and once I turn it on, I'm gone.
Oh, is that where you got that from?
Yeah. I knew you wouldn't understand.
No, man.
You don't understand most things.
I was thinking of Michael's secret stuff from Space Jam.
Well, it's sort of
pretty close.
Yeah, it's in the same vein, I'd say. The game where he starts taking off, though, very Lamar Jackson-esque, the way he like kind of like evades tackles. And I think in '99, that was very cutting edge. You didn't see a lot of that. You think about like Michael Vick was like I think a couple years later than this.
I mean, Randall Cunningham was kind of close.
Randall Cunningham was like the only one that we had that was kind of like this.
Wasn't Steve Young like that?
He was pretty elusive.
Elway ran when he had to.
I don't think
we're thinking like playground ball quarterbacks.
Also, like not white, right?
That too. Yeah, that's to his point.
Well, speaking of LA, we get that play where Willie does that flip into the end zone. It's very Elway-esque, that what Super Bowl game against, was it the Packers? And he kind of makes a run and he gets hit and he helicopters into the air. They basically bit that exact play, which was really cool. They did it really well, and I appreciate it. Except for the fact that they bring it back in the last game of the movie when Cap Rooney does it. It's basically done twice.
They did a double.
They've done it twice, yeah. Both times it's executed really well.
And it looks like they got him, Chad. Holy mackerel. That is football.
Cap had one of his spun.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jamie had a forward flip one.
He looked more like Elway with it because Cap has more of an Elway thing going on.
And he was left-handed.
Yeah. But then right after
the details.
He gives Tony a stare down right after that play. So he changed the play in the huddle. Then immediately gives him a stare down. And I was trying to figure out, like, considering he was a third-string quarterback, who obviously is like a journeyman and almost should be like appreciative of the opportunity he's getting. Like, I was like, why is Willie coming at Tony with like such attitude like right away? Like immediately, the second he starts playing good at all, he won't even give him the time of day on the plane when he's talking to him. And he's like sitting next to him. He's trying to like talk to him about like, hey, I lost my father too. If you ever want to talk about it, and he's just sitting there and he's just like, yeah, man, I got Trick Daddy to listen to. You good? We good here?
Trick Daddy, baby. Trick love the kids.
Trick Daddy CDs.
Trick Daddy actually is a song in this movie. Okay. What's up? Shut up. The soundtrack of this movie is fucking lights out, by the way.
The one song that comes in perfectly when it's like there's a thrown pass. And it's like, you're going to keep on losing me.
Bill Withers.
And taking using me.
That
it. It's like, I don't know why. It's such a
I
calm
asked you
song
guys.
with
I asked you guys to name your best track. I'm certain Justin didn't do it.
That was it. I just said it.
Okay, good.
And kiss my ass. I just
What
came over
was
there.
yours?
How you gonna call me out? Wait, how you gonna call me out for saying I bet he didn't do it? And I literally 4 seconds prior had just come up with a fucking track that was fantastic.
The craziest thing is I had the exact same song.
Dude.
The only thing though, it made no sense in that scene.
No, it
for
didn't.
me.
It was like almost like why? Is
It's
this
like an
song being played, but
R&B,
it fit.
like a smooth, and then they're like in the playoffs. I'm like, nah, man, I want something to like pump me up right now.
Well, they did do a '90s track later. It was like they did one of those, like I forget which one. It wasn't that one, but it was one of those.
Though, right? Am I tripping? It's a great song. That's what I was saying. So if they
But
play
later,
it,
I'm saying it's later in the movie they did it, like the higher energy,
right? But it was just
90s
like,
song.
all right, it's a good song, but I don't know. I mean, they're trying to win this game right now. Fucking
You pick up the energy
yeah,
here.
let's pick it up, guys. What are we doing over here?
You guys want to know something crazy? That was my favorite song.
There it is. Bill, shout out to Bill Withers if you're watching.
Shout
right
out
now.
to Bill Withers. I did not think I would have that across the board on you guys, but
They snuck that one in. That's why.
I thought it was cool because another like Oliver Stone technique is putting music in a place where it doesn't seem like it belongs, but it kind of works. That's the first drive when Cap finally comes back in the big game. It kind of works because they're showing the engine's running good. The machine is moving. We're making plays. We're getting first downs. And the fact that they take out the sound effects as the game's happening, so you're kind of just watching it. They're cutting to Willie on the sideline, and he's like, he's reacting. Now he's all into it. For some reason, it just works on that play. If you wrote down on paper, in the big game, we're going to play Bill Withers. I wish I knew what that song was called.
Use Me.
Use Me? Yeah. You'd be like, no, that
Because
doesn't
Tony
work.
was using Cap.
Okay.
Is that what we're going
Maybe,
for?
yeah. There you go. Or was Cap using the game of football to feel something in life?
And then Cap's wife was using him to stay in the limelight.
Just
everyone
fucking
using
be
each other.
A lot of using going on in this game. Christina Pagniacci is using
Hence-
all of them to try to get herself the opportunity to
stadium.
move the team to LA. Yeah.
Madman using alligators in the showers.
Hence why that was the song
Yeah.
of the thing. Even though it was, again, as Castle stated, fantastic soundtrack throughout the entire thing. There's just nonstop jams, but that one just stood out and it really kind of connected with that part, even though it shouldn't have. So,
Yeah.
did you ever hear of Jamie Foxx and LL Cool J? They got in a fight during that race scene.
I have heard that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure LL Cool J probably beat his ass. Like,
So
let's be real.
I actually sent this to Castle because I was just doing a deep dive on YouTube, and Bill Bellamy has a video. You guys can search it up, and he gives all the details on the fight, and he had the trailer in between them two.
Yeah.
He did say LL Cool J beat his ass.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then
Yeah.
you say Jamie probably admitted, like, yeah. I mean, what am I gonna do against him? Like,
Yeah.
LL, have you seen those?
He beat my ass. Yeah. But then I guess Jim Brown came in and was like, "Nah,
He's
you
the mediator.
guys got to do this for the movie. You guys got to
Yeah.
squash it." And Bill Bellamy the whole time just in the middle, like, "What the fuck is going on right
Jim
now?"
Brown, team leader for all time, man. LL went through a crazy body transformation right around this time because, like, you look at like early LL in like the '80s, he was like a skinny little kid, you know. And then all of a sudden he shows up in this movie, he's yoked, and then from then
That
on,
point on, he never
to
lost
this
it.
day, like still LL's just jacked all the time. And he looks like he could be an NFL player. Both of them talking about the recollection of the fight, and they both were like kind of saying the other guy kind of started it. You know what I mean? Like it was, and then they just kind of reacted to it. But it does seem that the story is that LL caught him with a good. Which one of them hit him first?
So it was something along the lines of like they were acting and they got into it, and LL gives him like a shove or something to the helmet, and Jamie's like looks around like, this motherfucker actually just hit me right now. So he kind of tells him like, hey, don't put your hands on me. I think LL probably thought it was just all part of the act. So
yeah.
They reshoot. He does it again. At that point, I think Jamie swung first. But then LL was like, I got you, bro.
The way,
I mean, if you're going to hit me first, I'm going to hit you back.
I'm about to get you headstrong.
The way,
oh, nice.
So the way Jamie tells it, they're having a scripted argument for the movie, and that LL, because there was already tension, was almost like reacting to it in person, like he was actually talking that shit to him, Like, so he was getting mad for what Jamie was saying to him, reading the script that they were given. So... yeah.
Anyways, yeah.
One thing I want to touch on with Willie Beamen, though, this whole pop culture storm that then he goes on. Suddenly everybody's like, yo, this new kid's got some juice. Look at him go. All of a sudden, he's on the cover of ESPN, Sports Illustrated. He's making a damn music video. Yep. He's getting interviewed by Jack Rose, where he's wearing his like shiny like button-up shirt, and he's just talking all the like most cockiest mess you've ever heard.
Because I'm Willie Beamen.
This all happens within like a 2-week span. So here's my question. Would this happen in real life if a quarterback just suddenly like dominated for like 2 weeks? Do you think that suddenly there'd be that much wave of momentum for
maybe,
wins
man.
2 games?
I mean, maybe, but he'd have to take that fire that second, going into that third week, he'd have to really go hard. And then because you would get a lot of attention. Everybody would get into it. I mean, possibly. It could turn into like a viral sensation and possibly at that point. But then it would burn off pretty quickly, right? Because he lost the next game.
Just as quick, yeah.
In that rainy game.
Gotta
which
keep
was a
winning.
crazy, dark, rainy game. Why were there no lights during that
The Monsoon Bowl? Yeah. That's how.
And they wear black. It's like, I don't see, where's the ball?
I could barely see that scene in general.
You know what? But like to this day, it would happen. Think like Tommy DeVito for the Giants.
Right.
And then he had his agent that looked like Inspector Gadget. And then, like, everyone was doing the Italian hand because he was like,
yeah,
it's like a Linsanity moment where it just takes, especially now with social media and everything.
Yes, it would happen for sure.
So, absolutely. And then it would die out because they realized Tommy DeVito fucking sucks.
I agree. I think
I had him on my fantasy team for a week. What a stupid choice.
Roll the dice. You got to roll the dice sometimes, right?
I was like, hey.
You got to be like, hey.
You just wanted to do this.
7s, yeah.
Castle immediately told me, he was like, that's a stupid choice.
That was a bad pickup.
Stupid pickup. I was
really
like,
dumb.
he's good. He's good. No,
it was dumb pickup.
He's shit.
I read the same. I'm like, I think they overdo it a little bit, which you almost kind of have to with a movie to like really like drive home the point. But I don't think it's that far off. I think that like in football, especially where it's like all the action happens a week and then we have a week to talk about it. Every year,
and 2 back-to-back
over
weeks.
and over again, we see whatever team like had a dominant win on like Monday Night Football all week. People are like, I think they had a shot to take it all this year. Like they're the new favorites. Like it just changes week to week. Whoever's the hot story. I think the thing that maybe overdid it for me was like him being on the cover of every magazine because like it takes a while to get those printed back in the day. I don't know that they would have had him on the cover of Sports Illustrated immediately with like 2 wins in a row. But
listen, my Steelers were like that this season. Okay, 10-3. Tomlin was coach of the year. Steelers were going, and they were like, this is the most complete team. And then
they lost, what, like 5 in a row?
Straight. Dude, we look like absolute shit after 10-3. I was like, what just went down? And that's Steelers as the last decade for
that's
you.
That's the Steelers.
That's my
but
Steelers.
Yeah, week to week, though. It just changes so much, and who takes the headlines, and who's hot, who's not.
Yeah.
And
just taking the L
so
in the
for
first
sure.
round.
And he played 3 games because he lost the first one, but he got helicoptered in. So everybody's like, who's this guy? And then he won the next 2. Without question, man, he's going to be a star. Everybody's going to be like, no, they got something going over here.
Yeah.
Willie Beamen seems to be seeming. And then, I don't know.
Steaming Willie Beamen.
Big market, too, Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then that also takes me to the scene where he goes over to Coach Tony D'Amato's house. And I feel like this is one of the better scenes in the movie, but where Oliver Stone's direction just gets turned up a notch. Like, there's a few times when Oliver Stone is just like, clear out the lane, I'm going to do some crazy shit with this. They got, like, the Ben-Hur clips just, like, seamed in and out. And this last time watching it more than ever, it was really, like, distracting because I was, like, really trying to follow the dialogue. I'm like, this is actually a really good conversation between, like, the veteran coach who's like been through it and like knows what he's talking about, but is maybe a little bit too tied to the history of the game versus the new up and coming kid who just thinks that his style wins, and everybody that's like pictures on the wall, like those people don't matter. And like it was a very interesting contrast where you're hearing both them come at each other. Probably at that point, I'd say Jamie Foxx's best acting scene ever. And the whole time we're just being like, but here's Ben-Hur. Oh, there's a guy getting trampled by a stampede. Ah, there's a lion. Lightning. He's trying so hard to be like if you wanted to, just try a little bit, just being a little artistic over the top with it. But that is a really good scene.
Looks like Cap is going to make it back in time for the playoffs.
What?
Almost on him.
I knew that's the only reason you got me here. I knew you was gonna sell me out.
Cap's a leader. He's a team player.
That's bullshit.
Need a
that
team
is such
to win in the
bullshit. He
playoffs.
ain't half the athlete I am. You look me in the eye and tell me that Cap is a better player.
Cap's a better player.
I guess there was somebody else out there winning them last 2 games, huh? I put the points on the board. He lost 4 in a row. I lead by doing.
You kicked ass.
Yeah,
kid.
I did.
But I'll tell you something. Cap Rooney's been doing it for years.
And his time is over. And yours is too, unless you start taking some risk and start playing this game the way it's played today. It is not about the pitches and trophies on the ball.
I lived this game for 3 decades, kid. I know football. Now, those men on the wall...
They wanted to win. Just like you do. You can feed the press and the fans that whole sacrifice and glory of the game crap. You do it well. But I've been there. I've seen a long line of coaches just like you all the way from college with that same old bullshit halftime speech.
Bullshit?
Yes.
Is that what you
Yes, it's
you
bullshit.
say
You know what? You know it's bullshit because it's about the money. Raking in the TV contracts, fat cat boosters sitting in the skyboxes, the coaches trying to up their salaries, and the whole time, what you looking for? You looking for the next black stud to take you to the top 10. Get you in a bowl game. It's the same way in the pros. Except in the pros, the field hands get paid.
Come on, don't play that race card on me, kid. 25 years I work with men of your color.
Maybe it's not racism, maybe it's placism. Brother has to know his place, right, boss?
I don't understand what you're talking. What are you talking about?
By the way, Oliver Stone makes a cameo in this movie. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
I missed that.
What's his name?
His name is fucking Tug Kowalski.
Fucking Tug Kowalski.
He's the play-by-play guy.
Play-by-play
and
guy.
The whole time I was like, this guy's famous, right? And this is the fucking
Yeah.
director. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And his name is Tug, like T-U-G.
Yeah. You definitely saw him in the
Former
movie, but you might not know.
Former NFL pro or football pro.
So that brings me to this question. Best name of the movie. Several options here.
Hit it.
Tug Kowalski.
That's a strong start.
It's a strong start. Montezuma Monroe, played by Jim Brown. Luther Shark LeVay, played by Lawrence Taylor. And the winner for me, Dr. Harvey Mandrake, played by James Woods.
Jimmy Woods. Jimmy Woods for the win.
Dr. Harvey Mandrake.
He sounds so corrupt.
Is a real important character in this movie because like a lot of this is about like just how teams would go about switching results, doing whatever cutting quarters they would to like try to protect their own ass and win on the field. But like ultimately these people they don't really care about. Pagniacci talks about cutting Shark in the offseason because he's not going to be worth anything to him at that point. So like force him to play right now. Who cares? His health is on the line. Like I said earlier, a lot of this is like you get some good actors, you give them an opportunity to cook. Dr. Harvey Mandrake has his whole spiel when he gets called out in practice, you know, and he's now he's playing isoball and he's like, these men are warriors. They made that choice long ago. Who am I to tell them what they should do with their bodies?
Oh, and now you're going to play innocent, huh? You know what? Fuck your innocence. Then what about Bayer? What about Nielstrom and Manzicki? Logan and Krause? All these years, you have been
not have this discussion with you.
You don't want to hear the answer?
Get
Tony?
out of
Don't
here.
ask the question. And you fucking snitch. Did you ever think about Shark putting food on the table or his kids going to college?
You lied to him. You didn't give him a choice. You've got to give him a choice. It's a doctor's ethics.
Yeah, since when?
The Hippocratic Oath. That's
Hippocratic Oath. You mean the one that starts, do no harm? With all due respect, doctor, I didn't have to ask him because I knew the answer. Who am I to tell these men they cannot live their dream? They will not live with shame like you. They are gladiators. They are warriors. And long ago, they made that choice. Not you, not me.
Just Jimmy Woodsing all over the field. Love that scene.
Yeah, you know, this movie really does put a spotlight on that concussion.
It does, yeah.
Like, you don't realize
over and over again.
Because again, it wasn't talked about NFL, but yeah, this thing was like, hey, you guys, these fools are fucked up. You guys
are all fucked
these
up.
guys are fucked. They're slamming their head against each other.
They're throwing no flags.
Especially back then.
I don't even think they threw one flag.
I didn't see a flag in the movie except for on that last like game-winning catch that
That's
like
true.
called it back. Greatest receiver of all time. I can catch anything. Speaking of that, though, it was almost a sobering reality at the one scene when Jim Brown, of all people, was he Shark he was talking to? He's like, hey, man, have you ever seen one of those old punch-drunk boxers? Can barely remember anything, is stammering around. You don't want that to be you. It's like, oh, man. Upon recent memories, I'm like, Jim Brown, like literally the first person I think about when he's describing this. Jim Brown, the last few years of his life, was exactly.
Did he get there?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh, so he went from like this movie was 99. You would say from that point almost.
He passed away, I think, 2 years ago.
And then from like you said, the last 10 years, he was like starting to.
Yeah, the last few years.
Wow. I didn't.
I mean, it's
you can't hit your head. I worry about that with me with what I did in college, man. Slamming my
Justin
head against
spent
the door.
a lot of college slamming his head into my
I spent a solid
doors.
2 years weekly slamming my head into a metal door, and I worried. Like, I sincerely, like, did I do damage? Yes. I used to do it till I got dizzy.
At this point, you might be asking.
I used to purposely concuss myself.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you.
Dude.
Yeah, that's a concussion.
Why, Justin? Why did you slam your head on doors?
Because I would never be able to put dents.
And we never knew.
In a door. No, I said, because I was like, dude, I'll never be able to put a dent in a door the rest of my life. This is it.
This is my time to shine?
This is my time to put dents in doors with my head.
Shit.
It's my time to put dents in doors.
I don't understand. I really don't get it. Castle didn't understand it back then either. I was like, I'd have to do it, dude.
That should have been, if we could have had like senior quotes in college, like that should have been Justin's right there. This is my chance to put dents in doors, man. I'm going to take it.
Nobody else.
You think you're going to stand in the way of
dent a door with your head? You take it.
Do not stand away in front of a man in his dream.
Dang, Harvey Mandrake quote.
Dr.
Right there.
Harvey Mandrake. Why is that the greatest doctor name in the history? It sounds like what like Joey Tribbiani's character would have been on The Young and the Restless or whatever.
Dr. Drake Ramore.
Yeah, exactly.
Neurosurgeon.
It's right in that same realm.
The Drake throws it in there for you. Mandrake, Drake Ramore.
Who do you think?
Thanks, Drake's.
Drake's.
A lot of Mandrake. Anytime it starts with man, it makes me think of like Dorothy Mantooth, Wes Mantooth, from Anchorman.
Dorothy Mantooth is a saint. You understand me? Dorothy Mantooth is a saint.
Hey, what do you think has better parties scenes? This movie or Ballers? The show with The Rock.
I mean, I love the Baller show. Those 90s parties got to be, they hit different, dude.
You know why?
Your wife is
No
downstairs.
phones.
Your
No
wife
phones.
Is downstairs.
That's why.
No
Yeah.
phones.
Your
No
wife
phones,
is downstairs.
no social media.
You're ripping blow off of random girls, sitting on the toilet, getting, I believe that's called a Blumpkin.
Yeah.
A Blumpkin. We had a Blumpkin cameo in Any Given Sunday.
Out of nowhere.
Out
of
of
fucking
nowhere.
left field. LL Cool J, Bill Bellamy. One of the wildest
Quick
scenes
little
of the late
45-second
90s.
scene
I
that's
watched that scene 3 times just to figure out what the fuck just happened, and I couldn't follow anything, man. We got LL Cool J doing lines off of
Breastises.
sneezing on him.
Breastises.
Bellamy sitting there like just getting Blumpkin.
A Blumpkin.
And he's
Blumpkin.
like, yeah, this girl was talking about your sausage is wet. And then suddenly some other lady busts in. She's like yelling at LL or something. I didn't quite get the deal of who she was. There was no established anything with that beforehand.
It's complete chaos.
This is when Oliver Stone's directing gets like too much because like all of a sudden LL's like spitting a drink in somebody's face. Him and Bellamy are like kissing each other. Then suddenly the ladies, like one that was giving the Blumpkin is like, fuck you. And she's soaking. What happened to her? I didn't even know. I literally swear to God, I watched it back 3 times and be like, I'm trying to take notes.
And then that scene goes away. And it never really gets talked about. The fact that they partied
It's just
their
the
ass
life
off.
of the players.
It wasn't
man.
like they got in trouble or anything. It was just they party.
I gotta imagine that a lot of actual NFL players probably watch this and like, man,
What are you
my
doing
wife
to
doesn't
us
need
right
to be
now?
seeing this. I don't know how ingrained in reality these parties were, but like it definitely didn't do the NFL
I'm
players.
pretty
any
sure those
favor.
are pretty accurate. Minus
Yeah.
the fucking cutting the car in half with a table.
Do you know how fucking dedicated to revenge you have to be to cut a damn SUV in half with a fucking
Yeah, how long? Did you do that
chainsaw?
quick?
Table saw. A table saw on top of that.
Opposite defense. Yeah, one about the other. Respect will be paid. Somebody call this fucking cab. Get the fuck out of my house.
Honestly, you don't talk shit about somebody in their house. Like
I agree.
hold that up.
Willie had it coming, man. He shows up to Shark's party. Shark
Shark
greets him
don't-
warmly. He's like,
gives him the bed,
"Hey,
don't
man."
come in it,
He's
but,
like,
you
I
know.
got BJ's upstairs, man. Just don't get anything on my wife's sheets. Comes back on Wednesday. Like he is laying out the red carpet for you. First thing you do is get in there and just start talking all that business. Just be like, man, the defense need to play better. And LL offers
Warns him, yeah.
He lets him. He gives him like, all right, hey, you don't want to talk about him like that in your house. And he's like, man, what about you? All you care about is your stats. And he's like, all right, man, it's on. You don't know what this man Shark is capable of, but you're about to find out.
If the defense would just step up. Whoa. Lay off the D, man. Shark, hear you saying that shit, he'll kick your ass. Man, like I give a fuck. I'm trying to win some games. I ain't trying to kiss no overrated loser's ass. You say what you care about anyway. You playing for yourself? What you talking about? Like everybody else on the team. You gotta earn the right to diss somebody on this team, man. Team? Call us a team? All I see is a whole bunch of Superfly brothers running around here, living in a white man's world.
Tells him what's up in the hot tub. 5 seconds later, dude is chainsawing his SUV in half. And he was ready to go with it. He had the goggles on and everything. He was like, this is not his first car chainsaw and halving.
He was efficient.
He was done it quick.
He did that in like 5 minutes.
You have to. It was like a man putting on an ice sculpture.
Everybody was just like, woo! You would think they were taking pictures with their phones, but they weren't. They were just enjoying the moment of this man destroying a car in half.
They're like, he's doing it again.
He's doing it again. Watch out.
That's another one.
Oh, shit. Shark's at it again?
Yeah.
Hey. Oh, he's coming.
I love these
Hey,
parties.
Shark's got a chainsaw. Everybody come and watch. I got some popcorn.
Hey, somebody go tell Willie what he's doing so he can come out here and take a look too.
He'll see. He'll find out.
He'll hear it.
He'll hear the uproarious crowd that's cheering on a chainsaw, and he'll make his way out. Talk about a great way to actually get revenge. Like, guys talking shit in your head, like, okay, what? You could beat his ass, make a whole scene for it, or you can make it fun for everybody, let him get the message deeper. Don't hurt your team quarterback. You know what I mean? He's still healthy. He's still ready to go. Gets the message. I don't think there's a better way you can call it. You know what I mean? Like, you know he's going to feel this one.
That's leadership.
That's leadership, man.
Right there.
Shark, true team leader.
Defensive captain.
Luther Shark LeVay, a true legend.
I've heard it many times, but, I mean, we haven't brought it up because it's known. But absolutely one of the most legendary scenes from a inspirational point of view with Al Pacino at the end with his 4-minute spiel.
The speech.
The speech, man. The speech. We've heard it many because Castle put it in one of our college videos that we.
I didn't put that in there. Somebody else made that.
Oh, was that?
I think Sean O'Donnell made that one.
Okay. All right. Well, either way, somebody in our fraternity. Sorry to put that on. But yeah,
what's up, Sean?
It was a big one. We all get all hype on it and stuff. But yeah, that scene is inspirational.
I made a video a couple of years ago about the top 5 speeches in movies, and it was number 1 with a bullet for me. Absolutely the best speech. It's just, you know why? Because it's not too ham-fisted. It's not trying to be in your face about inspiration. It just gets there. It's got one of the greatest actors of our generation just cooking, just doing his thing, laying it out at his own pace. The music in the background just kind of works. It's got that mellow guitar in the background, carrying it enough to where you're like, okay, well, this is something I'm supposed to listen to. He starts off by talking about super personal shit. It's almost like, all right, I'm going to call myself out. I pushed away everybody that's ever loved me. I don't have any money anymore, so I'm down low. You guys are all I have. And let me tell you about what I've learned as I've gotten older, because I'm speaking from experience. And I'm not trying to be better than you because I just threw myself in the dirt.
It's a good way to start an inspirational speech. Throw yourself into the hell first and then be like, this is how I got out of it.
You want to get through to somebody, come at them from like, I'm not being holier than thou, okay? Look, I'm not a perfect person.
Yep.
I've done a lot of things wrong in my life. But you know what I have done in all that time? I've learned a lot. And what I can pass on to you is how to be a true leader. A lot of this movie is a lot about being a man. On any given Sunday, you win some, you lose some. But can you win like a man? That's the main quote they always go back to. That came from the original owner, Art, what was his name?
Pagniacci?
Yeah, Art Pagniacci. So then he starts like building him up. And after 4 weeks of Willie being the ultimate self-righteous diva, he turns a corner in an instant. One Coach Tony D'Amato speech. And then watching one half of football with Cap taking the reins back over. Realistic or effective?
I mean, both. Yeah, I mean, if you're locked in and you have a coach that's talking to you like that you've been with for some of those guys probably their whole career, and you respect the guy and just speaking from truth, speaking from the heart, being vulnerable. Yeah, dude.
You find out life's this game of inches. So is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, one half a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. Hell yeah. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the fucking difference between winning and losing. Between living and dying. fight. It's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that inch. And I know if I'm gonna have any life anymore, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that inch. Because that's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face. Now, I can't make you do it. You gotta look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now, I think you're gonna see a guy who will go that inch with you. You're gonna see a guy who will sacrifice himself for this team because he knows when it comes down to it, you're gonna do the same for him. That's a team, gentlemen. Hell yeah.
That speech gets me hyped to this day. It makes me just want to take a field. I'm like, fuck, I wish I had a rec league to dominate right now. Wish I had a game today.
It's a very unique thing to be able to do that, too. To be able to inspire through words and not go over the top and be almost excessive, like, oh, he's going too much, or go under and not give enough energy. It's a very fine line of specific vocabulary you have to hit in a certain cadence to really kind of hone it in. And I don't think I've been a part of a good somebody doing that for me, like, ever. None of my coaches. Maybe in fraternity when we used to get hyped before, but other than that, none of my coaches sucked.
I think fraternity-wise, we hyped up.
We hyped each other.
I had a lot of coaches, too, and none of them hyped me up like that.
Yeah, right? No,
I was always like, shut up, bro. I know more than you.
It is a good point. I don't recall too many my wrestling coach.
We all had shit coaches.
My wrestling coach in high school delivered some effective stuff sometimes. I do remember that. That's it. You know why? Because they're not the greatest actor of their generation like Al Pacino. Yeah. That's the difference. By the way, so did we discuss that already? Is he a good coach?
What is coaching in that era though? Like you got a defensive person, you got an offensive coordinator, so you're basically just kind of like keeping everybody in line.
Well, I'll tell you what it wasn't, but that he brings to the table is the swag of wearing a sports coat with like a button-up shirt. I don't feel like there was a lot of NFL coaches doing that at that time, but
they do that now.
No, I don't.
Everyone's wearing.
I think it works though. I think he makes it work. It pulls it off. Like he feels like an actual NFL head coach, and that's kind of what I like about his coaching style. I can't tell if he's an X's or O's guys. It feels like he's short on that. Like he doesn't seem to make. At one point, he like calls 2 plays in a row, and then Willie Beamen's always just like same play, and I'm like, maybe you shouldn't be shouting that to the sidelines. I don't know.
I know this coach, Nick, and he's a prick. This is a setup. I've seen this before. All right, we're running again.
Tony.
Let's do it. Come on.
Okay, let's do deuce left 22.
Yeah, 22, deuce 3.
Third down, 5 to go. Less than 2 minutes left in the game. All the Sharks have to do is hold on to the ball.
And then the other coach was just literally like, you're running the same play. Like he tells us.
That's why they brought in the offensive coordinator too to change it up. But no, he's
Nick
stuck in his
Crozier.
ways.
That's what I was gonna say. I think the brains of the team is actually the offensive coordinator Nick Crozier, played by Aaron Eckhart. So I think Tony's just like the leader of men. When Christina's going off on him about like how he's not getting through to the players, and you see it play out with Willie, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier about how Willie's just cold to him right away, which I was like, why is he immediately just being a dick the first time he's actually getting to play? And you know what it kind of reminded me of? Do you remember when Baker Mayfield got drafted to the Browns? Who was their coach at the time? The one that coached them for the winless season? Hugh Jackson?
I don't remember.
Yep, that's him. Hugh Jackson.
You gotta put that picture up on this so they can see what we're looking at right now.
Are you smiling, Hugh Jackson? He came about coaching Baker in his own way to where he was like, I want to work him in slowly. I think they had Tyrod Taylor, and they're like, Tyrod's the starter. There's not a quarterback competition because, nowadays a lot of times when a quarterback gets drafted number 1 overall, like a lot of people might expect him to start right away.
Got to throw him in.
But he was like, no, we're going to work him in. And we're going to bring him up under. We have this other guy that could start pretty good. Not realizing that ruined his relationship with Baker right from the start. He just was openly disrespectful to him, and he was letting him know like he didn't like that guy. He didn't care for him. And I feel like it all started from just not embracing him as like, you're the star of my team. Even though he all knew that was going to be the star, but the fact that he was trying to bring him in slowly, and Baker was like, I'm ready to go now. So maybe Willie's coming at it from like, this guy saw me as a third stringer. You hear a little bit of that come out when they're arguing. He's like, man, you didn't say nothing but 2 words, but you're like, oh, you gonna go run out to the knee side. He's head left. And your mom's gonna be ringing the door. The dinner bell.
You're back in the hood.
Yeah. You're back in the hood.
I'm like, damn. Coach, what are you doing?
So that's kind of what it comes out a little bit. But also at the time, and when he says that, Willie's rattled, man. Like he needs to like have it simplified to him. In that first game, Willie doesn't. He's like all over the place.
Shit, you ain't said 2 words to me. Till Cherubini went down. Then it was, go out there and play like you're in the hood. And you're throwing the ball and your mama's ringing the dinner bell. All you do is talk at me, man. So I'm gonna stay who I am, steaming Willie Beamen.
Something that a lot of the coaches don't recognize is like having that initial belief in a player sticks with them, whether or not they're starting or not. So then once they get the gig, they remember if you believed in them when they were a third stringer. So I think that's what that taps into. But Tony pulls him back in with this awesome speech, lets him know that you got to fight for your teammates. It's not just about you.
I once had a coach that I didn't play all season. It was the last game. We were up by 20 with like 4 minutes left. And I was like, this is my chance. He's going to throw me in. And he didn't put me in.
This would explain you trying to dent doors.
Yeah, dude. You guys wonder why I'm this crazy Puerto Rican sometimes, where I have this outburst? Yeah, it's just because he fucking coaches, man. Billy, fuck you.
A lot of the coaches that we had, though, it was not even like their primary job.
No, I mean, Coach Billy did. He was a travel coach, and they fuck you.
I'm upset for you.
I had shitty coaches.
I did too. I recall having a lot of, I don't want to say run-ins, but just like coaches where by the end of the season I was just like, man, I'm over this guy. And then they could sense that I'm over him. That's something that happens on every level. You see it in the NFL all the time. How many times these like receivers are just like, man, I don't give a fuck. They're sitting on the sidelines.
Reading books and shit.
Reading books. Fucking.
Well, yeah, so I was just bringing it around to a shitty coach that didn't give him the chance. Mm-hmm. Like Willie Beamen. I feel his pain with that shit.
But he gets inspired. And you know what? They do some good direction on the scene where you can kind of have a long shot on Willie. Kind of he's getting through to him finally. Sometimes like a player like that, all it takes is like to have like kind of one good conversation, one good speech. And then on top of that, he accepts Cap for what he is and what he can teach him with his experience. He talks about that at the end of the game. So let's talk about that final game real quick.
High scoring game.
Can I just jump in real quick? Because that speech, obviously, we're talking about is, iconic and use a lot of sound clips. A lot of players reference that speech all the time. I think the only problem I have after that is they fucking give up a 100-yard kickoff return to open the game.
And
I'm like, that whole speech just fucking went out the window because he's trying to fucking inspire you guys to fight for that inch. And special teams like, nah, fuck it. Fucking 103-yard return. And then he's like, no, wait, no, it's all right. We got it. Like, no. The whole speech, bro?
Dude, after the most inspirational speech on record, the team literally gives off an opening kickoff for a touchdown.
I'm watching that. I was like, wait a second. I was like transformed, like engulfed in that speech. And then I'm like, nah. Special teams.
People forget that. It gets often slept on that speech actually did not work in the short term whatsoever.
Think big picture.
Might have worked against him.
Big picture.
Yeah. But you know what he says, though, that I always appreciate because it's something that I've said to myself. It always sticks with me. He's like, nobody ever said we're going to win on a shutout. Let's go. And then because there's been so many times where I've been like watching a Niners game and then like the other team just throws a bomb like right off the gate. And I'm just like, nobody ever said we're going to win on a shutout. Let's do it. Hey, we got to throw one right back, Like we got a game to play.
It didn't seem like it bothered him. He was like, it's okay. That happens. It's like, we'll move on there.
It's kind of the thing I actually like about him as a coach in this movie is just his reaction to shit. He always just has like a cool kind of response when he's like, they're warming up and he's, Willie, I don't want you to pad the ball like that. He's like, oh, come on, man. I'm the man. He's like, you're the man. I repeat, I don't want you patting the ball.
Want a cool, tight spiral. And don't pat the ball.
It's tight as far as 6, Coach. You know I'm the man.
You're the man. I repeat. Don't pat the ball. They can see it.
And then, all right, Rock, why don't you go ahead and take a seat? And he's like, oh, man, I keep going. He's like, we all know you got the balls, Rock. Take a seat.
Okay, Cap. Sit down. I'm fine. I know you got the balls. We all know that. Come on, just get some rest. Let's go.
He just always has like a quick response that's like cool, but like he gets his message across, like keeping it together. He's being a good coach. I don't know if he's good with the X's and O's stuff. That's Nick Crozier's part.
The people part. The people
part.
He's a man of the people.
He's a good, a leader of men. That's clearly what he's best at. But obviously not good enough with the X's and O's because they gave up a fucking touchdown right after the best speech of his fucking life. But I think that game is in the running for me of best football movie game ever. It's up there. I would at least put it in the top 3. There's a lot of like back and forth, but at the same time, they never lose you on it. There's a lot of cool scenes. All of a sudden, fucking T.O.'s in the house, catching a long touchdown. Hello. Where did he come from? Was that the only scene that Terrell Owens was in the whole movie? Did you guys see that?
Wait, I totally missed
You
that.
missed
Terrell
that?
Owens was in the movie.
Terrell Owens is on the Sharks. He catches like the first touchdown they get of the game. It's like a long touchdown bomb, and his name is Owens.
No shit.
Yeah.
Missed that.
This is like young Terrell Owens. This is probably like second year in the league on the Niners.
I think
like
I'm still caught up on that kick return TD. I was
Yeah.
still quite upset about it.
It's cool. They like pick him up and he does like one of these. It's very quick,
No
but his
shit.
name is actually Owens. You can see
Okay.
it his back. Yeah.
Sick.
Very good back and forth game. A little bit of a chess match with was that Johnny Unitas, the other coach? Was that who
That was
played
him,
it?
wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah.
And
Against
shout
the
out
Knights.
Cap Rooney for that first half. He laid it out on the line right there.
Fucking has his John Elway moment to try to get it in.
That is the meaning in one sentence of Captain Jack Rooney. He will not take no for an answer.
And I think that considering that this movie wrote itself into a corner with the two quarterbacks, like who do you go with? Again, they're not making one out to be like, this is the one you should root for, or you should root for this one. They both make their case. This is what they're going through. And they handle it beautifully the way it gets handed off at halftime. And he does it without even saying to him. And he's like, never forget what you did for this team. And he's like, do what you got to do, coach. And then he sits down with Willie. And he's like, this isn't about me and you anymore. I need you to lead this team. He never tells Cap, I'm sitting you. He never tells Willie, I'm starting you. He just gets man-to-man with both of them, and they both get what's at play here.
Willie.
This isn't about you and me anymore. You gotta lead this team. When they look in your eyes, they gotta believe.
I know.
And then fucking Christina Pagniacci comes in like a fucking storming bitch.
Storming bitch.
Just throws a chair.
Well, look who's here. Halftime locker room visit.
Just making her way down from the luxury box.
I'm going down there.
Sorry, is the classical music getting too loud for you up there? And here we go. Willie's off and running. I like that. He tells him just, let it fly. He gives him a little good pump-up speech, and now we're off and going. Willie immediately throws a pick six.
That's the other thing I was just gonna say that, dude. He's like, I don't care. I don't want you to think. I want you to let it fly. And then I'm like, yeah. And then fucking pick six. I'm like, you guys are just not listening.
Again, maybe his coaching isn't effective for on-field play.
Or initially.
Again,
Initial.
it
takes time to develop.
Yeah, big picture here. We're thinking big picture. Let it rip.
Then, of course, this game also features one of the most chaotic scenes in football that just proves that Oliver Stone can throw so much at you at once when he wants it to.
I already know what you're going to say right now.
So all of a sudden, a guy in the field gets his fucking eyeball poked out. While that's happening, they're like showing close-ups of crowds, player reaction, coach reactions. Look what's happened. There's suddenly a fight in the stands they go to. They're like showing cheerleaders. They got them like scooping up an eyeball. And they're cutting to Barry Switzer and Tug Kowalski. And they're just like,
random.
I think he had an eye injury. I don't know.
It looks like he had damage to his eye.
And then we're back to playing. Like, they're literally like just throwing shit, light speed every second to be like, there's a lot going on right now. I don't know.
The eyeball is just laying on the field for like a good minute and a half. It's just chilling there.
Yeah.
And I looked it up. Has that ever happened in a professional football game? No.
Okay.
There's been eye injuries, but I'm like, no one's really like
Full-on
lost
eye?
an eye. Like just completely fell
How
out.
your finger has to go in the eye and pull yank out.
Yeah,
It would be a lot. Stone was just in his bag on that one. He's
I know
like,
I've
what's
heard-
the craziest
I've heard
shit
like
I could
in
make
like
happen?
yeah, you've heard this too probably like when they're like all together and there's eye poking and grabbing and
Sure,
but to like
the full-on, like-
little ice cream scooper.
It's like a lot to get it. That eyeball
The
was
whole
out there
thing.
clean,
and then
too.
like the attachments or the
Was
ligaments.
off, too?
It was all. It was like this long.
Oh damn! It was. They took off
And
a
yeah,
whole-
exactly what you're saying. I'm like, what the fuck just happened right now? How did that happen?
It's almost like Oliver was just in his bag in that one. He was just like, hey, I know, I got a good eye guy in effects.
Let's use
I got a guy who can make a dope looking eyeball. You think
I-
we can make a scene
yeah.
where there's an eyeball on the field? Let's
I
do
owe
that.
him. I couldn't use it in my last film. You guys mind? It'll work. It'll work.
Oh, it'll play. It is cool. We'll cut to like 3 different fights at the same time. There's like 4 different fight scenes in that last game. There's the one where the guy with the construction helmet just like bashes the guy in the head.
I saw that.
It's almost like they filmed a few, like, all right, we're gonna, and then they just in the last game they're like, fuck, we forgot to use these the whole movie. Just throw them all, get them all in there. There's like so many different fight scenes. We get to a point then, the Sharks need to stop, right?
It was a one-score game.
It was a crucial down.
Shark's got his deal where he asked for 2 shots before he's like, I think I can get one more of those shots, Doc. Please.
Come on.
Please.
I'll be your best friend.
Come on, please.
How about another shot, Doc?
You don't need it. Doesn't make any sense. Medically.
Give a shit about medical, Doc. Get some of that cortisone shit. Please.
At the moment before, you know what it actually reminded me of, as much as I hate to say it? When the Niners and the Ravens played in the Super Bowl, the Niners were right there. They were on 1st and goal on about the 9. So I'm a huge Niners fan. This is me repping my Christian McCaffrey going through his Willie Beamen phase shirt right here. Super Bowl's on the line right there. And I remember seeing films footage where Ray Lewis, and they're just like, this is it right here. This is where we hold them. And I'm like, that's got to be one of the most kind of badass moments for like a defensive lineman. And that's kind of what they built up in that moment. Like, we can turn him around right here if we stop him on this play. Shark makes the hit, maybe dies for a second.
For sure was dead.
Not
Definitely
clear.
Definitely died.
Yeah, he was dead.
It's not even clear that he could walk afterwards. He has to get stretchered out. They said he's not breathing at one point. But he's cool because he's worth $1 million.
He got $1 million.
Better not drop me. Worth $1 million.
Better not drop me.
Don't you guys drop me. I'm worth $1 million.
I know you're like trying to distract me with your helmet. I recognize. Like, just
He's locked in right now.
He's not listening. He's doing the thing where he's just like, "Hey,
This
look
is where
at
we
me,
stop
look
him.
over here."
He's Luther.
This is
right
where
now.
I go full on Shark LeVay on it and stop you on 4th and 1.
He's a method actor.
and I just
right
keep
here.
pushing through.
Jay understands me.
I totally understood. I didn't question it one bit.
Coming to
when
the
you
end of
put
the
that on.
game. This is a critical time, dude. It's time back for the
He was
helmet
in.
back.
They end up calling Comanche. Nick
locked
Crozier's like, "What? Are you kidding me?" And again, I just love the way Coach D responds. He's like, "Well, this is what coaching's all about. We're gonna run Comanche. I got a hunch."
Comanche. Tony, we got 9 seconds. If he stopped in bounds, the game's over. There's no timeouts left.
This is what coaching's all about, Nick.
Julian Washington fires it all the way down the sideline, steps out of bounds. He's like, unselfish. The guy who's been worried about his contract and his stats all year decided to step out with 4 seconds. And also the effect they do where it's that close-up of the clock where it's like a quick flash and then the time changes. Awesome effect. Love that.
Like zoom in on the light bulbs.
Yes, the zoom is like,
that's pretty cool.
5 seconds. Like I said, sometimes it's Oliver Stone editing. Pretty fucking cool. Then on the final play, Willie jumps like 9 feet in the air.
Super sick.
Jump over the pile.
Get you some of those Metrics protein bars.
Strawberry ones. Delish. And they say he like fumbles it and there's like a thing. And I wrote down, did anybody love a single line in this movie more than the ref who gets the ball? He goes, touchdown! That's his one line in the movie. And he milks it. He makes it count.
Watch out! Watch out! Touchdown!
I'll throw it in right now if I can find
I
it.
want to see that audition tape.
Yeah.
Give us the best touchdown.
Oliver Stone, yeah. Oliver Stone gave him a speech too, like Tony D'Amato.
No, we need more. Try one more time.
Yeah.
I also wondered, though, on the flag play, did the replacements bite that? Because the replacements did the same thing a few years later. Like, it seems like they had the dramatic game-winning play, and then they're
it's
like,
kind of a typical thing that
I
would
guess it's a
happen,
common
so
thing,
you
yeah.
kind of see
Definitely if you're the Chiefs.
Although your team used to be that before.
Easy. We're fucking terrible right now, so just soak it in, all right?
He's like, let me have...
But hey, these colors don't run right here.
He's like, let me have the... I appreciate that he supports his team, even when they should have the first pick, but even don't even have that. So,
yeah, they just don't want to see me happy.
Niners
totally
fan.
fine.
We've been there.
They gave me some great years.
Coming there. Oh, yeah, the guy rips off a gorilla mask in the final 4 seconds. In the final 4 seconds, we got another...
so rant, dude. The whole,
Actually,
so much going on.
The most annoying one of it was the owner's box. I was annoyed with the owner's box so much during the movie. I didn't feel like it really mattered. But in the final drive, they keep cutting back to like Cameron Diaz and her mom just having like conversation that's like, who cares? Who cares? I don't care. What is that? This conversation, like you can't even hear what they're saying, but like, I don't care. I'm invested in this game. Why aren't you guys?
They're the two dogs.
Christina, aren't you like the fucking owner of the team? Why aren't you paying attention? She's like, I don't know, things are changing. Like, and it's like they're literally on the final drive with like 30 seconds to go. And they're like just sitting in their luxury box with the classical music playing with their fucking little dog. I don't give a fuck.
They're not even watching the game. I couldn't believe it.
Not even watching the game on the final drive with the whole season on the line. I get that Mrs. Owner's wife is like checked out because said that football ruined her life. She doesn't care.
Yep.
She's just there to drink and party and like hang out with upperclassmen. That's her whole gang. Christina Pagniacci, you're not going to pay attention while your quarterback that you're trying to like make franchise player is like leading the team down the field.
Well, I guess as an owner, it really doesn't matter. You get the results at the end, and then you make decisions on that.
She's a hands-on owner, though. She shouldn't be paying attention to what's happening. Anyways, that whole cutaway to those, it's just it drove me crazy.
Irritated Castle, clearly.
Yeah. So that ends the movie, and then my only question at the end is, where the hell does Tony go at the end? They have that final like little conversation, and he just disappears. Like, and then Jamie throws a pass, and then he's just like, "It's my shoulder," and then he's just gone. He's like, he was a ghost the whole time. Tony D'Amato was in your mind the whole.
He went to go see Jesse Spano.
Maybe he's like, my call girl said,
Mandy,
that
was her name, right? Mandy,
yeah. And then how the hell did Tony sign Willie Beamen just from out another nose at the end?
New Mexico.
The New Mexico, that's another team. The Albuquerque Aztecs.
Yeah, was there tampering?
Yeah. It's a different time. Like literally, it seems like he's giving their farewell speech, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to coach that new expansion team, and I just signed Willie Beamen." And when he first says it, Christina doesn't have enough of a reaction. It kind of like comes later. I'm like, your man's kind of hosing you down over here.
Then she has to act like she cares. I'm like, no, we saw you in the Super Bowl or the Pantheon Cup.
You were talking to your mom about like dog biscuits and coffee. Like, we don't give a fuck at this point.
Yeah, I thought you would point this out that they did lose to San Francisco in the next round. Your
San
team.
Francisco. Which, did I mention this earlier? There was the San Francisco Knights on the schedule.
Yeah.
But then there were the Dallas Knights at the end. So
was it spelled the same way, or was it like Knights like the evenings?
Yeah, like nighttime.
That would be dope if there was a
San
Knights
Francisco
in the league
evenings.
and a Knights San Francisco evenings. I like that.
All games are at night for sure.
It has to be.
You can't do any like 10 a.m. games.
All right, so real quick, let's cover our final awards for now that we've kind of run through the whole movie. That's taken just as long as the entire movie.
Almost.
Do we still call these the thingies? Doesn't matter. Who is your MVP of any given Sunday?
It has to be Willie Beamen. He's the game changer. He brought the swag back to Miami. Not only that, he burned them at the end too. He was a loyal guy, stuck with Tony. He made that movie for me. You kind of got mad at him sometimes because, you know, his head got too big, but at the same time, it's like, you know what? If I was a pro for 4 years and I got my shot and I'm actually cooking, don't fucking put me back on the fucking bench with Jesse Spano.
Jesse Spano's waiting there for you in her Mandy phase. Well, not so bad.
Yeah, give me Willie Beamen. That's my MVP.
I mean, for me, it's a fight between Willie and Tony. But, I mean, considering that my fantasy team name has been Steamin' Willie Beamen and Willie Beamen Invisible Juice, I can't go against Willie. He was innovative of what was to come from the quarterback position because you weren't seeing that much. We had Randall Cunningham in the 90s that was a player like that, and that's it. And now half the league is all about, if you want to draft a fantasy quarterback, you want the athletic guy that's going to pick up yards with his feet. It's like what the game is now. And you know who saw that? Willie Beamen and Christina Pagniacci. They were ahead of the game. Tony had to learn that, and eventually he did. He was willing to learn from Willie, too. He says that in the final press conference. So
you're saying Willie and Tony? Pick one.
I picked Willie. I said it's between them. I got to pick Willie.
Whose life was ruined from this team? Who?
Shark
also,
LeVay, because he died like 15 minutes later.
I see your point, but she actually spoke it and said this. Also, who, through sexual intercourse, created the next head of the organization so that this organization could continue to grow and even have this kind of team?
You're talking about Mrs. Pagniacci, right?
MVP.
How is she MVP?
Without her, she having sex to have Miss, what was it, Pagniacci, the daughter?
Christina.
Then you don't get her being able to control the team. If not, it goes to some other owner, and we have a whole different storyline. So for the story to be what it was and see all the way down, I got to go with the mom.
Except for the fact that she was kind of annoying in all of her scenes, she had a pretty good.
She knighted the.
Yeah, that
coach.
was annoying. She's like,
she was always on one.
She was always
on one.
She has a pretty good back and forth with Tony close to the end. But you know what annoyed me about that scene is there's a big wide open window and there's an awesome sunset outside, and then the maid comes and like closes curtains on it. I'm like,
What are you
You're
doing?
gonna close the curtains on a dope sunset? As a sunset lover, I was offended. I was like, open that shit back up, dude. We're vibing right
So
now.
the maid is not your MVP.
Neither is Mrs. Pagniacci.
So we got Willie Beamen and Miss Pagniacci as the two MVPs of the movie.
In fact, we could
Nice.
go ahead and jump right to the practice squad player, which is the person you don't need, because mine isn't necessarily Mrs. Pagniacci, but the whole sequence of scenes in the owner's box, as I just explained, I hated that
Owner's box scenes.
I hated the way they dragged down the scenes. It was like they're trying to do too much. You could show one shot of it. Oh, it's kind of stuffy and like that. But then the fact that they kept going back there with like no clear reason for it, other than maybe a little conversation with fucking Charlton Heston, NFL commissioner. Which, by the way, I forgot to ask that. What is let's do that one real quick. What's the best cameo in this movie?
I was gonna say Charlton Heston because
Heston.
he's the commissioner and he was on. They are playing Ben Hur earlier, like you said.
You're
And
right.
I'm
He's in there twice.
You know, he was just in there, and I was thinking, Gordon Street. I just kept thinking about Gordon Street.
Gordon Street.
That one fine day on Gordon Street.
I kind of liked Dick Butkus as the coach of I forget which team.
That was a good one too. Dick
Just
Butkus.
shows up
What
and
a
he
name.
just shouts.
That's like all-time names.
All-time name.
Dick Butkus.
Even better than Montezuma Monroe.
Yeah.
Arguably. But he at one point, that was like when Willie's just first starting, like his first game, and he's like, "Hey, where'd you find this F word?" I'm gonna finish. It's not the F word you want to say, but that's like his main line in the movie. So Dick Butkus making his impression felt.
Your 12th man was Dick Butkus?
No, that was my cameo. I kind of switched to starting to talk about who had the best cameo.
Yeah, you went out of nowhere. You didn't even get us an answer. So what is...
So answer both of them. He answered his cameo.
My cameo was
Charlton Heston as the NFL
as the commissioner,
as a pre Roger Goodell, a precursor to
And
Roger
your 12th
Goodell.
man?
the practice squad.
Yeah.
Practice squad player.
I actually was gonna say Mrs. Pagniacci too, just because the story. I just
You could say
didn't-
it.
I didn't really care about her story. I like the dogs though; they're cute.
Cute dogs.
You know, she was just kind of just there. The story was about the daughter.
I mean, my pick is who was unnecessary, who didn't need to be there whatsoever other than to annoy us.
Cap Rooney.
Miss Pagniacci. She was actually...
Oh, wait. You know what? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I was gonna.
What about Cindy Rooney?
Okay, that's what I was. I just got upset because I was thinking about Cap Rooney's wife.
Fucking slapping him in the face for daring to retire from the game that's made millions
I
for
got
you.
so mad at that
I got
part.
so frustrated at her.
Don't hit him.
He has made a life for you. Playing this game, he's breaking down physically.
We know who you are, Mary Swanson.
Mary Swanson, Lauren Holly. Did you notice that? That was the same.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
So her name was Cindy Rooney.
Mary Swanson, all grown up. Yeah.
Fucking bitch.
That was actually my. I was gonna say so.
That's gonna get me in trouble.
So my first question was like, who's the worst character? And then I realized we kind of have that with the practice squad player. But my least favorite character was Cindy Rooney. Fucking bitch.
I guess that means she did a good job at that because
But that's
I was very upset with her.
That's why I didn't want to make her the 12th, because I actually think that story is important to be in there. I think it's like an effective part of the movie to be like
wags.
told. Yeah, like what it's like with these players' wives and everything. And they have that whole scene where like Vanessa meets them and they're all just a bunch of stuffy bitches who are like, oh, it doesn't matter if you don't got the ring, girl. You know, and Vanessa hates that party. I would too, man. Fuck those.
Jim Brown was my cameo. I feel like he played a great role.
Did you notice that every coach of the other teams throughout the movie is like classic football players? So they have, like we said, Johnny Unitas,
Dick
Butkus, Y.A. Tittle, Bob St. Clair, Pat Toomey, and Warren Moon all make appearances. So there you go. All right, and then let's finally do the sixth man off the bench, which I feel like in this movie, for some reason, I feel like that's the true award, the like main award, because there's a lot of good options. Guy who comes off the bench wasn't one of the main characters, so you can't say Al Pacino or Cameron Diaz or Jamie Foxx.
I'm gonna go Bill Bellamy's character, Sanderson. What was his first name? I
don't even know what his name was.
Sanderson. No drama, and just believed in Willie from the start, and that was his number one. I catch everything. I'm the best receiver in the league.
And then he's also obviously J-Man's man because they're getting Blumpkins next to each other by
They're
a couple
Blumpkin
of
buddies.
prostitutes in the BJ room.
Fucking Blumpkins. Yeah, give me Sanderson.
Yeah, the shark. I feel like he played a great role.
The
Not
mascot?
the mascot shark. No, I'm talking about Lawrence
Luther.
Taylor's
The mascot shark.
mascot shark.
That would have been great if it was the mascot. I really liked the way he ate the cameraman's head.
Yeah, Luther.
Not only did he bring forward the concussions protocol and
Yeah,
all that
yeah.
being a big part of it, but he also he was badass, man. You ain't fucking with him on the field. Like you were truly scared of him, and he was retired for like 10 years.
Yeah.
By the time this thing, you were still like, I do not want to get hit by that man. That'll destroy me. So yeah, I'm giving it to him. The shark.
What does it say right there? Can anybody read it?
LT, definite six man.
LT, definite six man. The
So,
shark.
Same thing. We're the same.
Same character.
Nice.
I just wanted to point out that I had that written in bold. And Lawrence Taylor is incredible in this movie, really.
Is he playing any other movies? Is he? In
I haven't
other
seen him in anything, but he's so good, and you believe him because you know about his defensive, his abilities and his accolades.
Yeah, it's almost like anybody.
He's legit. So when he's talking, you're like, this man is actually speaking from experience. This guy has seen it all. He knows exactly what goes down on the field and locker rooms. And that scene he has in the sauna with Jamie Foxx, where he's just like chilling there, isolated, and he's like, "You led, but did they follow?" And he has like this whole monologue, and he delivers it without overacting it. He's literally just like speaking from the heart. It's like
experience.
you would think he's like a legit trained actor, and he fucking crushes that part.
He does.
Sure, the games taught you how to strut, how to talk shit, how to hit. What else? Suddenly there's no more money, no more women, no more applause, no more drinking.
And then he gets it done on the field. You gets it done in the party scenes. He fucking chainsaws a damn SUV in half with a skill saw. Come on.
Yeah.
True LT. Did this movie result in the XFL, do you think? I wonder if this is what
Possibly
started it.
could have started talks about it for sure.
Because like this was probably made in 98. I think the XFL started in 2000. Like I feel like Vince McMahon saw this and got his wheels spinning. It was just like kind of like what I see there. So yeah, there it is. On any given Sunday. Oh yeah, wait. I forgot to ask you guys if you had a best quote. Just because I had one I wanted to say.
Nope.
I do have one. I had to write it though. I mean, obviously, I could have gone the easy route and go Coach Tony D'Amato, but
yeah. What'd you go?
I went with a Willie Beamen quote, where he's like, "I'm trying to win, Coach. I ain't trying to disrespect nobody, but winning is the only thing I respect." And I was like, "Let him cook."
Willie makes it clear to anybody that will listen that like winning is like his own thing, which is easy to say when you're on like a 3-game win streak. I'm trying to win. Like talk about milking that like win streak.
Hey,
so I got a couple quotes. So obviously, the whole anything that you want to pick from Tony's speech at the end, great speech. I liked what I said when he's like, "Well, this is what coaching is all about." I like when Shark is before the game. The doctor's like, "How are the headaches?" And he's like, "Fonzie started doing that shit." That was fun.
How are the headaches? It's fine till you start doing that shit.
Obviously, the OG, the original quote, on any given Sunday, you're going to win or lose. The point is, can you win or lose like a man? Yeah. And then my favorite quote, at one point, Jamie Foxx, he just says, "I'm a righteous motherfucker."
Right deuce, dog, 90 smoke on 3. Jimmy, you're 1. Ice, you're 2. Champagne, you clear out. J-Man, check the flat. Yeah, on 3.
Yo, Willie, don't force it in there if you don't got it, baby.
I got that, baby. I'm a righteous motherfucker on 3. Ready?
That's the note I want to end on.
Hey, we fight for that inch.
We fight for every inch. That's 6 inches in front of your face. Put your helmet on.
Wait, did you say 6 inches? 6 inches on a good day.
Enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday, everybody. Just remember, on any given Sunday, you either win or lose, but can you be a righteous motherfucker?
Sacrifice, don't give up the